Hello, my friend. If you've ever loved someone so deeply that they became your anchor in this life, then you know what it means to lose your balance when they're suddenly gone. The death of a spouse doesn't just take away a person, it shakes the very foundation of your world. The shared routines, the quiet conversations, the inside jokes that no one else quite understands, they disappear, and in their place comes silence, confusion, and an ache so deep it's hard to put into words. But perhaps one of the most difficult parts of losing your life partner isn't just the grief. It's the choices that suddenly land on your shoulders, often when your heart is least prepared to carry them. Should you sell the house? Should you move closer to your children? Should you keep everything exactly the way it was or begin to let go? Well-meaning friends might offer advice. Some will tell you to make quick decisions. Others may urge you to find someone new or donate your spouse's belongings. And in the whirlwind of loss, it can feel like everyone has an opinion, but your heart is the one left breaking. In moments like these, it's not uncommon for older adults to say yes too quickly to things they're not ready for. Financial moves, emotional detachment, physical neglect, even new relationships. Not because they don't care, but because the pain is overwhelming. And sometimes doing something, anything, feels easier than sitting still with sorrow. That's why this video matters. Today, I want to help you avoid the most common mistakes seniors often regret after the loss of a spouse. These are choices that, though often made with good intentions, can lead to deeper pain, stress, or long-term hardship. So let's walk through this gently together, because the road ahead may not be easy, but it can be walked with clarity, dignity, and support. Let's begin. Grief is a natural human experience, but it's also one of the most disruptive forces we can face, especially for seniors who've spent decades building a life with their spouse. When that bond is broken, it sends shockwaves not only through your heart, but through your entire body, your thinking, and your sense of security. That's why some of the most dangerous decisions aren't the ones made with bad intentions, they're the ones made while grieving. Let's start with the science. When you lose someone you love deeply, your brain and body respond with a stress reaction. The brain releases cortisol, the primary stress hormone, which floods your system. Elevated cortisol levels disrupt sleep, impair memory, and cloud judgment. You may feel forgetful, indecisive, or mentally foggy. These are not signs of weakness, they are symptoms of grief. And they make it much harder to make rational, long-term decisions, especially when others are pushing you to act now. On top of that, grief impacts your immune system and cardiovascular health. Studies show that within the first 3 months of losing a spouse, widowed individuals face a significantly higher risk of illness or even death, a phenomenon known as broken heart syndrome. The body quite literally carries the weight of emotional loss. That's why taking care of your health, physically and mentally, is not just self-care, it's survival. From a psychological perspective, grief is also tied to a strong desire for control. In the chaos of loss, it can feel comforting to do something, to move, to clean out closets, to give away belongings, to invest or sell. But the truth is, many of these actions, when done too early, can become forms of emotional avoidance. We seek to fix our pain by acting quickly, hoping that change will somehow ease the grief. In reality, it often postpones the healing process or leads to new regrets. There's also a deeply social component to all of this. As we age, our support systems tend to shrink. Children grow up and move away, friends become fewer, a spouse often becomes the center of our social, emotional, and daily life. When they're gone, it's not just the grief of losing them, it's the grief of losing the rhythm of companionship. This isolation can quietly turn into long-term loneliness, which research shows is linked to everything from depression to dementia to early mortality. So when someone suggests you just need some time alone, it's important to remember that solitude and isolation are not the same. Healing doesn't mean retreating forever. It means finding new ways to stay connected, even in quiet, small moments. Then there's the matter of vulnerability. Seniors, especially those who are recently widowed, are unfortunately prime targets for financial scams, emotional manipulation, and unsolicited advice from people who may not have your best interest at heart. You may feel pressure to trust others quickly, especially if they seem helpful or kind, but trust, especially during grief, should be earned over time, not assumed in moments of weakness. All of this is why grief experts often recommend what's known as the pause rule, waiting at least 6 months to a year before making any major life changes. This isn't about putting your life on hold, it's about protecting it. By giving yourself time to emotionally stabilize, you allow your brain, body, and heart to work together again in clearer alignment. Grief is not just emotional, it is physical, cognitive, and social. And that's why the decisions you make in the months after a spouse's passing carry so much weight. The more you understand about how grief affects you, the more empowered you'll be to avoid common traps and protect your future well-being. You deserve that space and that strength. 1. Rushing into big financial decisions. One of the most common and costly mistakes seniors make after losing a spouse is rushing into big financial decisions. It's understandable when your partner passes, you're suddenly left to manage everything alone, from mortgages and retirement accounts to insurance policies and monthly bills. The financial burden can feel overwhelming. In that pressure, it's easy to believe that quick action will give you control, or at least a sense of stability. But in reality, acting too fast during this vulnerable time often leads to regret. Grief clouds judgment. It doesn't matter how smart or financially experienced you are when you're grieving. Your brain is working through shock, stress, and often fear. This is not the ideal mindset for making irreversible financial choices. And yet so many are told to sell their home right away, downsize, or reinvest life insurance money quickly. These decisions may seem logical in theory, but emotionally they're often premature. Take Margaret, 74, who sold the home she and her husband shared for 40 years just 3 months after he passed. Everyone said it would be easier to manage a smaller space and a fresh start would help, but what she hadn't anticipated was how deeply she would miss her neighborhood, her garden, and the familiar rhythm of home. She later admitted she wished she had waited just to be sure. Financial predators also tend to circle during this time, offering help with investments or pushing for fast commitments. Even loved ones may encourage generosity, gifting money to children or charities right away. But remember, you must take care of yourself first. Experts often recommend a 1-year rule. Wait 12 months before making major financial moves. Give yourself time. The best financial decisions are made with clarity, not crisis. 2. Withdrawing from social connections. After the loss of a spouse, it's completely natural to want space, to pull back, to be alone with your thoughts, and to sit quietly with your grief. No one can tell you how to mourn, and no one should rush your healing, but there's a fine line between healthy solitude and harmful isolation, and too often that line is crossed without even realizing it. When you're grieving, phone calls feel exhausting. Invitations seem meaningless. Even talking to loved ones can feel like a burden. So you begin to skip gatherings, stop answering messages, and spend more and more time alone. At first, it feels like self-care, but over time, that silence grows heavier. Days blend together, your world becomes smaller, and before you know it, loneliness has taken root, and with it, emotional and physical health decline. Studies show that prolonged isolation, especially in seniors, increases the risk of heart disease, depression, weakened immune function, and even early death. Human connection isn't just comforting, it's necessary for survival. Take Walter, 78, who stopped seeing friends after his wife passed. He told himself he just wasn't ready to talk. Months passed and he felt worse, not better. It wasn't until a neighbor invited him for coffee and wouldn't take no for an answer that something shifted. That simple act led to weekly visits, walks in the park, and slowly a return to life. Staying connected doesn't mean forcing yourself into crowds or pretending everything is okay. It means small steps, answering one phone call, taking a walk with a friend, or joining a grief support group. These moments of connection, even when quiet, are lifelines. Don't shut the world out completely. You deserve support, and the people who care about you are waiting to give it. 3. Neglecting your health and daily routines. When you lose your spouse, it can feel like your entire routine collapses overnight. Meals you used to share together no longer have meaning. Doctor's appointments feel unimportant. Exercise becomes something you'll get back to later. And in the quiet that follows loss, many seniors begin to let their own well-being slip. Not out of laziness, but because grief makes everything feel heavier. It's important to know that neglecting your health during this time is not uncommon, but it is dangerous. Grief doesn't just affect your emotions, it takes a toll on your body. The stress of loss can disrupt your sleep, weaken your immune system, and increase your risk of heart problems. Some people lose their appetite altogether, while others turn to comfort foods that offer emotional relief but little nutrition. Take James, 81. After his wife passed, he stopped cooking, convinced he just didn't have the energy. He snacked on crackers and microwaved meals when he remembered to eat at all. Within months, he felt weak, foggy, and more emotionally fragile than ever. His daughter stepped in, helping him prepare simple meals and reminding him to drink water regularly. Gradually, James began to feel like himself again, not just physically, but mentally too. Taking care of your body during grief isn't selfish, it's essential. Eating nutritious food, staying hydrated, walking a little each day, and getting proper rest are all small acts of healing. And don't forget your mental health. If the weight of sadness becomes too heavy to carry alone, speaking with a counselor or joining a support group can make a profound difference. Your spouse would want you to continue living, not just surviving. Honor their memory by caring for the life you still have. You are worth that effort. 4. Jumping into a new relationship too soon. In the months after losing a spouse, the silence can be deafening. The emptiness at the dinner table, the quiet evenings, the lack of someone to share small joys and sorrows, it's all deeply painful. In that loneliness, many seniors begin to crave companionship, and it's completely understandable. But rushing into a new relationship before fully grieving can lead to emotional confusion, heartache, and regret. Grief is a storm of emotions: love, loss, guilt, fear, longing. And when we don't take the time to process those feelings, we risk seeking comfort in ways that aren't truly healing. Many widows and widowers begin dating not because they're ready to love again, but because they feel desperate to fill the void. And while companionship is a beautiful thing, entering a relationship too soon can blur the line between love and emotional escape. Take Barbara, 72. Just months after her husband of nearly 50 years passed, she began seeing someone new. At first, it felt like relief, someone to talk to, eat with, distract her from the pain. But quickly, things moved too fast. She felt overwhelmed and emotionally conflicted, unsure whether she was moving forward or just avoiding her grief. Eventually, she stepped back, realizing she needed more time alone to rediscover who she was without her husband. There's also a risk of vulnerability. Seniors in mourning can become targets for those with bad intentions, financially or emotionally. Anyone who pressures you to commit quickly, cut off family, or make financial changes should raise red flags. You deserve love, but real love, built on healing and clarity, not desperation. Take time to understand your emotions, talk with trusted friends, and remember, it's okay to want companionship, but it's also okay to wait. A strong relationship begins with a strong, whole you. 5. Holding on to everything and refusing to let go. One of the most emotionally complex challenges after losing a spouse is deciding what to do with their belongings. Every shirt, every pair of shoes, every book on the shelf, each one carries a memory. For many seniors, the idea of letting go of these items feels like erasing the person they loved, so they keep everything exactly as it was, sometimes for months, even years. But what starts as a way to hold on can quietly become a barrier to healing. Grief needs space to breathe. When your home becomes a shrine to what was, rather than a place to find comfort in what remains, it can trap you in a constant state of sorrow. It's not about forgetting, never about forgetting, but about making room for your heart to heal without being overwhelmed by constant reminders. Harold, 76, left his late wife's belongings untouched for over a year. Her shoes stayed by the door, her clothes hung neatly in the closet, her teacup sat on the kitchen counter just as she left it. At first, it brought him comfort, but eventually the stillness became heavy. He realized he wasn't moving forward, not because he didn't want to, but because his environment wouldn't let him. When he finally chose a few special items to keep and gently let go of the rest, he felt a sense of emotional release he hadn't expected. Letting go doesn't mean you love less. It means you're honoring the life you shared while allowing yourself to step into the life that remains. Start small. Save a favorite photo, a handwritten card, a cherished keepsake. Create space, not to forget, but to live. Healing doesn't erase love. It makes space for it to grow in new, unexpected ways. Losing a spouse is a life-altering experience. It touches every corner of your world, your routines, your identity, your dreams for the future. The grief can be so consuming that even the simplest decisions feel overwhelming. And in that fragile state, it's all too easy to make choices that later bring regret. That's why understanding these 5 common mistakes is so important, not to shame or blame, but to gently protect you during one of the most vulnerable seasons of life. Maybe you've already said yes to something too quickly, a financial move, a gift to family, or a change to your living situation. Maybe you've turned inward, pushing others away, convincing yourself that being alone is safer than facing the complexity of connection. Or maybe you've neglected your own care, or felt drawn to someone new before you were truly ready. If any of this sounds familiar, take a breath. You are not alone, you are not broken, you are human, and you are grieving. The truth is, there is no perfect roadmap through loss. There is no timetable that tells you when to feel what. But there are gentle truths that can guide you. Slow down. Pause before big decisions. Stay connected in small ways. Care for your body even when your heart feels tired. And above all, trust that your grief deserves time and space to unfold. It's okay to still miss them. It's okay to not have all the answers. And it's okay to live again at your own pace. Your spouse would not want you to suffer indefinitely. They would want you to find comfort, strength, and even joy again. Even if it feels impossible right now. You honor their memory not by holding on to pain, but by continuing to live with meaning, with dignity, and with love. Grief will always be a part of your story, but it doesn't have to be the end of your story. There is still life ahead of you, real, beautiful life. And while it may look different than what you once imagined, it can still be filled with purpose, peace, and deep, abiding connection. You don't have to navigate this chapter alone, and you don't have to rush it. Just keep moving forward, one thoughtful step at a time. You are still here, and your life still matters. If this video resonated with you, then you already understand how delicate this chapter of life truly is. The loss of a spouse changes everything, but it doesn't erase your value, your purpose, or your need for thoughtful care and connection. That's why I encourage you to take these insights to heart, not as rules, but as gentle guides to help you navigate each day with a little more clarity and a little less regret. Start by giving yourself permission to wait. You don't need to make big financial moves right away. You don't need to clear out every drawer or make decisions about your future overnight. Let yourself pause. Let yourself breathe. Write down the important questions and come back to them when your mind feels steadier. If someone pushes you to act quickly, remember this is your journey and no one else's timeline matters more than your own peace of mind. Then make a commitment, just one, to reconnect with someone. Call an old friend. Say yes to coffee. Join a local support group or community center. You don't need to jump into social events, but you do need people. Let them remind you that you're not alone and that healing doesn't have to happen in silence. And perhaps most importantly, take care of your body. Drink more water. Eat something nourishing today. Walk for 10 minutes if you can. These small acts of care are quiet victories, and they matter more than you might think. Here on ElderSpark, we're building a space where healing, aging, and meaningful living go hand in hand. If you haven't already, subscribe to our channel and turn on notifications. We're here to support you with practical advice, emotional encouragement, and stories that remind you your best years aren't behind you. They're still being written. You deserve to live them well. Let's take a moment to gently recap what we've learned. After the loss of a spouse, it's easy to fall into decisions made out of pain, pressure, or loneliness. But the 5 most common mistakes seniors often regret: rushing into financial decisions, withdrawing from others, neglecting health, starting a new relationship too soon, and holding on to everything without letting go can quietly delay healing. Each of these choices is understandable, but they don't have to define your journey. By pausing, staying connected, caring for your body, and allowing space for reflection, you protect not only your future, but the memory of the one you loved. Take your time, move gently. You are not alone, and your life still holds meaning. At ElderSpark, we're here to walk this road with you because the next chapter can be one of strength, clarity, and even peace.